The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Miss Metavi Simmons. Chapter 28. The Treasure Found. Within a few minutes, the new hairspray and a dozen boats full of men were on their way to the cave, and the ferry, well filled with passengers, soon followed. Tom was in just worth when the cave door was unlocked. A sorrowful sight presented itself. Red-skinned Joe lay stretched upon the ground dead. He had died for hunger. His face was close to the crack of the door, as if his longing eyes had been fixed to the last moment upon the light for the free world outside. Usually one could find half a dozen bits of candles stuck by tourists in the cracks of the wall of the first chamber, but now there were none. The prisoner had searched for them and eaten them. He had also managed to catch a few bats, and these also he had eaten, leaving only their claws. Tom was sorry for him, for he knew from his own experience how this unfortunate man had suffered. But although he pitied him, it was a great relief to the boy to feel safe again. Redskin Joe was buried near the mouth of the cave. The morning after the funeral, Tom took Huck aside to have an information talk. Huck had learned all about Tom's adventures from the Wolfman and the widow Douglas. By this time, Huck described his entire adventure on Cardiff Hill, for Tom had only heard the Wolfman's part of it. "Well," said Huck finally, "I accept that. The money in the box has gone from number 2. It's never be out, Tom." "Huck, that money never was in number 2 at the end." "What?" Huck gazed keenly at his companion. "Tom, have you got on the track of it again?" "Huck is in the cave." Huck's eye blazed. "Say that again, Tom." "The money in the cave. Will you go with me and get it out?" "Of course I will. But what makes you think that the money is Huck? Just wait until we get there. If we don't find it, I'll give you everything I've got the world." "It is far in the cave?" "I've been on my leg a few days, but I don't think I could walk more than a mile." "Hug, I'll take you there and back in a boat, and you needn't raise a finger." "Let's start now, Tom." "All right. We want some bread and meat an owl, an eye, an owl pipe, and a few bags, and 2 or 3 kite strings, and some of those new things they call meshes. At noon, the boys set out in a boat borrowed from a villager who was absent. When they were several miles below Cave Valley, Tom said, "Can you see that white place up there where there's been a landslide? Well, that's where the hole is." Delian and Tom proudly marched into some thick bushes and said, "Here it is, the finest hole in the country. I've always wanted to be a robber, but I knew I had to have something like this first. We'll keep it a secret and tell only George Harbers and Ben Roger because of course there must be a gang for style, Tom Sawyer gang. It sounds splendid, doesn't it, Huck?" "It does, Tom. And whom shall we rob?" "Oh, almost anybody. We'll lie in wait for people, as robbers usually do." "And you kill them?" "No, not always. We'll hide them in the cave till they can pay the ransom." "The ransom? What's a ransom?" "Money. You make them get all they can from their friends, and after you've kept them a year, you kill them. If they haven't collected the money, only you don't kill the woman. They're always beauty and rich and frightened to death. You take you take their watch and jewelry, but you always take your hat off the talk and talk politely. Robbers are perfect gentlemen. You you see that in any book." "Why, it's Grand Tom, I believe. It's even better than being a pirate." "Yes, it's better in some ways because it's close to home and circus and things." The boys then entered the hall, Tom leading the crown to the farthest end of the pages. The passes made their kite string fast and move on. They presently enter and follow Tom's outer passes until they reached a pit. They reached the pit. The candles revealed that it was only the swept clay slope, 20 or 30 feet deep. Tom held up his candle and said, "Look as far round that corner as you can. Do you see that? They're on a big rock over there, done with candle smoke. Tom, it's a cross. Now we are far and we are found the real number 2 at last." Redskin Joe hold up his candle. Huck stared at the mysterious sign for a time and then said in a shaky voice, Tom, let's get out of here. What? And leave the treasure. Yes, leave it. Redskin Joe Ghost is hanging about there. I'm certain. No, it isn't, Hark. It would haunt. It haunt the place where he died and the mouth of at the mouth of the cave, 5 miles from here. No, Tom, it wasn't. It was hang round the money. I know the weight of ghosts, and so do you. Do you? Dropgator in Tom's mind. Then an idea occurred to him. Look here, Huck. What fool we're making of ourselves. Redskin Joe Ghost wasn't come whether across. Tom, I didn't think of that. That's lucky for us. Let's hunt let's hunt off the box for the box. Tom went first, cutting round steps in the clay slope as he descended. Huck followed. 4 passengers opened out of the small cave in which the great rock stood. The boy examined them with no result. They found a corner in the one nearest the base of the rock with some blankets spread in it, but there was no money box. They searched and resolved this place, but in vain. He said, he said, under the cross, said Tom. Well, the rock is under the cross, and the money can be under the rock itself, because that's resting solidly on the ground. They sat down, discouraged. I could suggest nothing. Look here, Hark, said Tom at last. There are footprints and some candle grains on the clear about one side of this rock, but not on the other side. Now, what does that mean? I bet you the money is under the rock. I'm I'm going to dig in the clay. That's not a bad idea, Tom, said Huck, brightening up. Tom Tom Knife Tom Knife was out at once, and he had not dug 4 inches before he struck wood. Some board was soon uncovered and removed. They had hidden a natural hole with lead, with lead under the rock. Tom got into this and held his candle as far under the rock as he could, but said that he could not see the end. He proposed to explore. He bent down and passed under. The narrow way descended gradually. Gradually, he followed it, running course with Huck in his heels. Tom steadily turned a short curve and then examined. Good heaven, Huck! Look there! It was indeed the treasure box, occupying a little cave. Near it were a, a couple of guns in leather case, an empty powder barrel, two or three pair of old boots, a little belt, and some other rubbish. Rubbish. "We've got it at last," said Hank, digging among the coin with his hand. "We'll reach Tom." Huck is too good to believe. "Let me see if I can lift it." The box weighed about 50 pounds. Tom could lift it in an awkward fashion, but he could not carry it conveniently. "I thought so," he said. "It seemed heavy that they carried it at the haunted house. It is a good thing that I brought the bags." The money was soon in the bag, and the boys took it up to the crossrock. "Now let's fence the guns and things," said Huck. "No, Huck, leave them there. They're just the thing to have when we go robbing. We'll keep them there all the time, and hold our meeting there too." They soon came out into the brush, and lunched and smoked in the boat. Tom rode back in the long twilight of day Lena, little after dark. "Now, Huck," said Tom, "we'll hide the money in the widow woodshed, and I'll come up in the morning and we'll count and decide. Then we hunt for a safe hidden place for it out in the woods. Stay here while the barrel while the borrow Benny Taylor's handcart. I won't be a minute." He disappeared and suddenly returned with the handcart. They put the small check into it and started off, dragging the load behind them. When they reached the wheel the wheelman the wheelsman house, they stopped to rest. Just as they were about to move on, the wheelman stopped out and said, "Hello, who's that?" "Hack and Tom Sawyer." "Good. Come along with me, boys. You're keeping everybody waiting. I'll put the cart for you. Why, it's fairly heavy. What have you got in it? Brick or old metal?" "Old metal," said Tom. The boy wanted to know why they had to hurry. Never mind. Never mind. You'll you'll see when we get to Widow Douglas." Mr. Jones left the car near the door, and Huck and Tom found themselves pushed into Mr. Douglas' sitting room. The place was grandly light, and everybody that was of any importance in the village was there. The widow greeted 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 them pleasantly, but Aunt Polly blushed with shame at their dirty condition and shook her head at Tom. I met them right at my door, and so I just brought them along in a hurry, said Mr. Jones. And you? And you did right, said the widow. Come with me, boys. She took them to the bedroom and said, now, wash and dress yourself. Here are two new suits of clothes, shirts, socks, socks, everything. There are hugs. No, no thanks. Hugs. Mr. John bought one and I bought the other. But they'll fit both of you. Put them on. We'll fit. Come down when you look respectable. As she left, Sis appeared. Tom, Auntie has been waiting for you all the afternoon. Why why are all these people here? Asked Tom. It's one of party that the widow is always having. This time is for Welshman and his son for saving her the other night. Some minutes later, the widow's guests, including a dozen children, were at the supper table. At the proper time, Mr. Jones made his little speech. He thanked the widow for the honor she was doing him and his son, but said that there was another person who had played an important part in saving her. He then revealed the secret about Huck's share in the Avengers. The widow heaped thanks and praise upon Huck, who already suffering from the discomfort of his new clothes, has now to suffer a greater discomfort. The guest and unpleased of everyone. The widow said that her house was now Huck's home, that she meant to have him educated, and that when she could spare the money, she would start him in business in a modest way. Tom Cheng had come. Tom Cheng had come. He said, Hark, doesn't it? Hark doesn't need it. He rich. The silence was a little awkward. Tom broke it. Huck's got a lot of money. Oh, you needn't smile. I can show you. Just wait a minute. Tom ran inside. Tom ran outside. The guests looked at each other puzzled and inquiringly at Huck, who was tongue-tied. Tom entered struggling with his check. He poured the mass of yellow coin upon the table and said, There! What did I tell you? Half of is Huck and half mine. The spectacle took everyone's breath away. Then there was a call from an explanation. Tom provided it, and there was scary an interruption from anybody to break the charm of its flow. The money was called. The sum amounted to a little over $12,000. It was more than anybody present had even seen before. It one time thought several persons were there who were worth considerably considerably more than that. The property